Hey guys, so in light of the new year and just completing my third meditation retreat, I decided to start back up this video project and talk about retreats. So the first retreat I ever went on was last year at the end of December to the beginning of January, and it was 10 days with my teacher Shinzen Young, and that deepened my practice in a very profound way that hasn't changed and has only deepened even more. So before my first retreat, I had a daily practice from anywhere from 30 minutes a day to over 2 hours depending, but averaging around 45 minutes to an hour a day. And so that over the course of the year and a half or so that I've been practicing, off and on, more on than off, had really shifted my relationship to myself and the world in a profound way. But this retreat just did something completely different. So I had a lot of resistance before, if there was pain, I definitely averted from it. And when you're on these retreats, no matter what you're feeling, you just sort of are going in and exploring it and using mindfulness techniques in order to examine your experience. And doing this just gave me many different things. It gave me insights into my behavioral patterns and thought patterns. It gave me insights into the nature of reality itself. And then having direct experiences with these sorts of insights helped me overcome certain behavioral patterns and thought patterns that were no longer serving me. And then these insights into the nature of reality shifted my experience paradigm in a way where things have never been the same since. And it's been for the better. In ways I could have never dreamed were possible. So what had happened was I had to go through a lot of purging and letting go of things that were no longer serving me. And then in that, I found I had a particular experience where it's like the world and the experience of a sense of self just dropped away. And it was like there was a blip. It was like I vanished, the world vanished, and then it was only for a moment, and then it came back. And then ever since then, my experience of myself and the world has changed dramatically. It feels like the experience of the subjective world of emotional body sensations, visual thoughts and mental talk just don't have this grip over me anymore. It doesn't pull me in and cause me to really fixate on the content. And so things are free to arise and pass away without averting or clinging on to the pleasant or unpleasant sensations or thoughts. And that's just given me a certain kind of freedom that I didn't have before. It's allowed me to stay out of reacting to the experiences in my subjective world and instead processing the material and then making mindful decisions instead of being... It's like I was drunk off of the content of the subjective experience, and then I began to sober up at that time. And this retreat just deepened this shift that was happening in me at a very quick rate. And then the momentum of meditating day after day after day allowed you to get deeper and deeper into the experience, and that was something that is priceless. And then on my second retreat, that was about 2 months ago, and it was really nice. My first retreat I had lots of flashy experiences, and it was really dramatic. And then on my second retreat, it was just really ordinary. There was nothing too dramatic about it. I would just sit And then I'd maintained a daily practice in between these two retreats, only taking less than 7 days off, I'd say. Maybe a little over, maybe 10 max days off out of that whole year. So I'd done quite some work in between. And then on the second one, it was just really peaceful. I didn't have any really deep, hard experiences. It was just still. And then there was a deepening of the letting go of identification with thoughts and the emotional body, and needing to change anything about my experience. There was a letting go of needing to have big, flashy experiences, and which really allowed me to see the beauty that is in the ordinary and just in this present moment, just as it is. And I would say the peak experience I had on that retreat was I was staring at this statue of the Buddha, and I was just looking at it, and I was focusing on not only the body sensations, but the visual stimuli and the sounds, and then all of a sudden, any intention just dropped away, and I was just there. And I was doing, if you want to put it into technical terms, it was do nothing in Shinzanese, which is my teacher's language for describing the practice. And I sat there just in peace. I didn't need to move. I didn't need to think about anything. If there were thoughts, they were arising in such a way that there wasn't even any fixation on them. So it was like nothing more than a sound. And it was like there wasn't a sense that I was observing the world or that I was listening to the sounds. The sound was just arising. The world and sight was just there. The sight was sight, the sound was sound, the thoughts were thoughts, and there was no sense of separation of me observing them. And I just sat in this peaceful place for almost 3 hours and didn't move. And I didn't feel the desire to get up. I didn't feel the desire that I had to keep staying and meditating and I had to deepen this state. I was just there. And that experience was really nice. And then, on this last retreat, it was horrifying. I was in terror almost the whole time. But it was in a way that had completely shown me how much this practice was shifting my relationship to the experience of my internal world, or on my subjective world and the objective world. So in the midst of this terror, it felt like there was this black hole on my face and this vibrating energy that was just like, it wasn't like it was massaging me like a pleasant flowing sensation. It was like hammering me, just like, and at a very fast rate, and it was tense. And then I had like fear arising in my emotional body, and at the same time, this peace that I had gotten and deepened since my first retreat had gotten to a point where it was like there was peaceful terror. So in the midst of experiencing some of the deepest terror of my entire life, there was this centeredness and this peace, this equanimity with what was happening in a way where I didn't need to react to the content and I could just be with it. And that sort of bled over into my daily life too. And it's allowed me to change behavioral patterns and see them for what they were, deepen my insights into the nature of reality, and just really directly experiencing a lot of all these words I read from these great mystics in books and quotes, and really understand what they're talking about, not just through being like, oh, I get it intellectually, but having direct experience with what they're speaking about. And it's the most important thing that I have done in my entire life, and I hope all of you at some point get to experience the beauties of growth using meditation, inquiry, and contemplation as a catalyst for that process. So I'm hoping to come out with some more videos soon. I'm going to start talking about the techniques again, but also just randomly do some talks about just what I feel like speaking about. I wish you guys well, and happy travels.